Alright, so I'm servicing the non-serviceable motor in my refrigerator, the condenser motor that sits down in the back of the fridge that cools the condenser coils. So what I've done is I've got a chisel, and so when this is all together, this front piece is pressed in place here on the motor. So I took a chisel and I got in that little tiny gap and I just pried it open, got the front piece off right there, and the same thing with the back piece. It's just pressed in place right here. Did the same thing, got in there with the tiny gap and just pried it open. And then it's got this spring clip and this felt washer. And now the felt washer is supposed to be impregnated with oil to keep the shaft oiled, because it only has the one bearing. It doesn't have a front bearing, so the rotor goes in here and it just sits in there like that. And so I'm going to go ahead and clean everything up. You can see that the shaft on here is spiral cut, and so that's meant to actually pick up the oil and push it forward. And you can see down in there that there is a little bit of grease, oil down in there. There's the shaft. You can see how it's got the spiral on it to push the oil and the grease down into it. Can't really see much down inside there, but there it is. There's the bushing right there. Then there's the other half of the bushing. So we're just going to go ahead and oil this up really good, and I'm going to add a little bit of oil in this little reservoir area right in here for it. And so to get this spring clip off right here, it's just pressed on, so you can see where it's been riding right there, that little groove. If you just grab it with a pair of pliers and rotate it while pulling, it'll come off of there. And then you can actually service it. So I'm going to take my chemical of choice, my solvent of choice, my acetone, and I'm going to go ahead and clean all the old grease off of this. And we'll get some light machine oil on there and lube up that shaft, and hopefully we can get some more years out of this guy. This fridge is about 15 years old at this point, and it still has the original motor on it, and with any luck we'll get another 10 or 15 years out of it, no problem. A little bit of scoring on the shaft right there, probably because it was dry. So now I'm just going to get my cotton swab and just go up and down in the bushing here. Try to get it all cleaned out as best that I can. Look at all that. Oh my gosh. Dip it back in my acetone. We'll go back in it again here. A little bit better. Let's go from the back side this time. Good, we'll hit it one more time with a clean cotton swab. Now I think this little captive area right here is meant to actually hold oil, and then this that moves around is supposed to dip it in the oil and actually fling it up onto the shaft to keep it constantly oiled. So I'm going to do put a fair amount of oil in here. And we'll clean the shaft up really good as well. Much, much better now. So there's how much gunk came out of there. So I've got my Zoom spout oiler. I'm just going to go ahead and oil up the shaft to begin with. We'll get some oil up in the tube. And I'm just going to put a liberal amount on here. Next, like I said, I'm just going to fill this up with quite a good amount of oil. Next we'll put the felt back on there once again, a liberal amount of oil on that. There we go. Sorry I was off view for a second. Well, since I broke the retaining clip off, the retaining spring, well, we'll use a zip tie, so I'm not really worried about the rotor coming out, and it still has a fair amount of pull on it there. So I think that's going to be okay. And now it's got these two little felt inserts that go in here, and it looks like the zip tie clears them, no problem whatsoever. Tap the back on it right there. Good. Tap the front back on it. Turns freely. Let's give it some power. So I've got some alligator clips connected to it here, and we'll give it some power. There we go, it's running fine. It's definitely nice and quiet. Looks like it's barely turning on the camera, but it is running. Anyhow, we'll put the fan blade back on it, put it back in the fridge, and hopefully we'll get many more years of use out of it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put the fan blade back on it. First, this little rubber, I guess it's a dampener of some type, goes on here. And then this nut just threads onto the shaft. Let's hook some power up to it, and contact. Anyhow, there it is, up and running. I think the blade's off balance a little bit by the looks of things, but it's nice and quiet, so hopefully we'll get many more years of use out of this thing. Alright, well there is the motor all reinstalled. It's nice and quiet. You'll probably get some wind noise off of it here. You see the wind's blowing, so there it shut off. Let's let it coast down. Anyhow, it's up and running. This fridge is almost 20 years old at the time I recorded this video. According to the charge tag, it was manufactured July 20th of 2000. That's pretty close, because I think we received this fridge back in about October or November of 2000. Anyhow, it's been a really good fridge. I have replaced the water valve over here, and I have replaced the compressor start thermistor in that little black box right there. And then I did have a problem with the ice maker, and so I ended up putting a timer up here on my ice maker, because the little snap switch that detects when it's at the end of the cycle's too early. So I added this little Omron timer to give it 15 more minutes for the ice cubes to solidify. And it's still running strong 20 years later. There's the tag on it. It doesn't seem to have a date up here. Maybe if somebody knows how to decode the serial number on these things, they can figure out when the fridge was actually made. But anyhow, it's been running strong. It's been being a good fridge. But there it is, all back together. The motor's nice and quiet. Of course, it's not running now, so it's really quiet. If you enjoyed this video, please consider making a donation to my YouTube homepage with the PayPal donate button, or at paypal.me/norcal715. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and ring that bell to get future notifications. Remember, with your help, we can keep these things out of the landfill and out of the recycle bin. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.